You're looking for the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable. And that's precisely what we're about to forge, right here, right now. This isn't about feel-good platitudes or gentle affirmations. This is about excavating the raw, unyielding power of Stoicism and hammering it into a weapon you can wield against the chaos of modern life. It's about building a mind so resilient, so focused, so impervious to the external storms that you become not just strong, but truly, undeniably, mentally unstoppable. Forget the caricatures of Stoicism, the emotionless statue, the passive sufferer. True Stoicism is a warrior's code, a practical philosophy for men who demand more from themselves, who refuse to be victims of circumstance. It's the blueprint for an unbreakable inner citadel. If you're ready to dismantle your weaknesses, to silence the doubt, and to cultivate a mindset that can withstand anything thrown its way, then prepare to absorb what follows. This is your arsenal. First, let's cut through the noise. The Stoic mindset isn't about being devoid of emotion. It's about not being controlled by emotion. It's not about grim endurance. It's about purposeful action and profound inner peace regardless of external conditions. Becoming mentally unstoppable isn't a gift. It's a discipline, forged in the fires of conscious effort and unwavering principles. We're going to dissect the core tenets of Stoicism that directly translate into unshakable mental fortitude. The absolute bedrock of the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, is the dichotomy of control. This isn't a suggestion, it's an iron law. You must burn this into your psyche until it dictates your every reaction. There are things you can control and things you cannot. Your thoughts, your judgments, your choices, your actions, your character, these are yours. The external world, the opinions of others, your reputation, at least how others perceive it, your health, to a degree, wealth, the past, the future, these are largely, if not entirely, outside your direct command. The average man wastes 90% of his energy, his sanity, his power, raging against what he cannot control. He's a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave of misfortune or criticism. He is, by definition, stoppable. To become mentally unstoppable, you must wage a relentless war on your habit of focusing on the uncontrollable. That promotion you didn't get, the economy, the way she looked at you or didn't. These are external, what was in your control, the effort you put into your work, the quality of your application, your financial discipline, how you chose to interpret her glance or to ignore it, how you respond to the setback. This is where your power lies. Every ounce of mental energy you pour into lamenting, blaming, or wishing things were different with what's outside your control is energy stolen from building your inner fortress. It's a direct path to anxiety, frustration, and weakness. The actionable step here is brutal self-audit. Every time you feel anger, anxiety, despair, or frustration, stop. Ask yourself, what part of this situation is truly within my control? Be mercilessly honest. If it's something external, you consciously, deliberately withdraw your emotional investment. You acknowledge it, perhaps you even note it as a factor to navigate, but you do not let it dictate your inner state. Your focus shifts entirely to your response, your next action, the part you can govern. This isn't passivity, it's strategic power allocation. Imagine a general who only focuses his troops on battles he can win. That's you, marshaling your mental resources. This single shift, practiced daily, hourly, moment to moment, is the first giant leap towards becoming unstoppable. You cease to be a puppet of circumstance and become the master of your internal domain. Your peace is no longer hostage to the whims of the world. Next, we embrace a concept that terrifies the weak but empowers the strong. Amor fati, loving your fate. Not just accepting it, not just tolerating it, but loving it. Every single part of it. The triumphs, the disasters, the betrayals, the windfalls. The Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, demands that you see every event, no matter how apparently negative, as raw material for your growth, as fuel for your fire. Nietzsche, heavily influenced by the Stoics, put it powerfully. My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati. That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. Think about that. The modern world conditions us to whine, to complain, to see ourselves as victims when things don't go our way. Why me? We cry. The Stoic, armed with amor fati, asks, why not me? And then, how can I use this? This isn't about masochism. It's about recognizing that reality is. Wishing it were different is a monumental waste of energy, a direct path to suffering. To love your fate means to embrace the challenge, to find the opportunity within the obstacle. That business failure, a lesson in resilience and strategy, that painful breakup, a chance to forge greater self-reliance and understand what you truly value, that illness, an opportunity to cultivate patience, courage, and appreciate the present moment. The mentally unstoppable man doesn't just bounce back from adversity, he uses adversity as a trampoline. He transmutes poison into medicine. How do you cultivate this? Start small. The next time something inconvenient happens, a traffic jam, a spilled coffee, a rude comment, instead of reacting with irritation, pause. Say to yourself, this is part of my fate today. I accept it. What can I learn, or how can I respond virtuously? Then actively look for the good or the opportunity for good within it. The traffic jam gives you time to listen to this script again or to practice patience. The spilled coffee teaches you to be more mindful. The rude comment is a chance to practice forbearance and emotional control. Gradually, you apply this to bigger challenges. You stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. You understand that the obstacle is the way, as Ryan Holiday so aptly puts it. This isn't blind optimism. It's radical acceptance coupled with proactive engagement. When you truly embrace amor fati, external events lose their power to break you because you've decided in advance that whatever happens is exactly what you needed to become stronger, wiser, more resilient. You become unstoppable because you're no longer fighting the current. You're using its power to propel you forward. This is a profound shift from victimhood to ultimate agency. Now let's talk about a practice that seems counterintuitive to many, but is essential for the Stoic mindset: becoming mentally unstoppable. Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This isn't about wallowing in negativity or manifesting bad outcomes. It's a strategic psychological exercise to inoculate yourself against future shock and build resilience. The modern world encourages a fragile optimism, a belief that if we just think positive thoughts, only good things will happen. This is a dangerous delusion. Life, by its very nature, includes setbacks, loss, and pain. The mentally unstoppable man doesn't hide from this truth, he prepares for it. Seneca advised us to regularly set aside time to imagine the worst-case scenarios. What if you lose your job? What if you get sick? What if someone you trust betrays you? What if you face public humiliation? By vividly contemplating these potential misfortunes, you achieve several crucial things. First, you desensitize yourself. The imagined event, when confronted mentally, loses much of its terror. If it does occur, it's not a complete shock. You've already walked through it in your mind. Second, you can strategize. What would you actually do if X happened? What resources could you call upon? How would you respond virtuously? This mental rehearsal builds preparedness and reduces panic. Third, and perhaps most importantly, it cultivates gratitude for what you currently have. When you imagine losing your health, you appreciate it more today. When you contemplate poverty, you value your current stability. This isn't about dwelling on fear. It's about facing potential fears head-on in a controlled environment so they have less power over you in the real world. Think of it like a mental sparring session. You're practicing your defense before the actual fight. The man who has never contemplated loss will be shattered by it. The man who has regularly, calmly, considered the possibility of hardship and rehearsed his stoic response will meet it with equanimity and strength. How to practice this? Once a week or even daily for a few minutes, pick a potential misfortune. It could be small, missing a deadline, or large, a serious illness. Visualize it happening. Feel the initial emotional sting. Then ask yourself, what is in my control here? How can I act with courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom? What internal resources can I draw upon? Remind yourself of past challenges you've overcome. Consider what you would still have even if this misfortune occurred: your character, your principles, your ability to choose your response. This practice strips away the fear of the unknown and replaces it with a calm, rational preparedness. It's a cornerstone of becoming mentally unstoppable because it trains you to face life's inevitable difficulties not with panic, but with premeditated resilience. You stop being afraid of what might happen because you've already decided how you will act. Central to the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, is the concept of the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius spoke frequently of this: a fortress within yourself, a place of refuge that no external event, no matter how chaotic or malicious, can truly breach. This isn't a physical place. It's a state of mind, built brick by brick through reason, virtue, and self-mastery. In a world that constantly bombards you with distractions, demands, and negativity, your inner citadel is your sanctuary of calm, clarity, and strength. Building this citadel means cultivating an unshakable sense of self that is independent of external validation or circumstances. Your worth, your peace, your power, they reside within this fortress, not in your job title, your bank account, or the approval of others. These external things are fickle, transient. If your identity and well-being are tethered to them, you will always be vulnerable, always stoppable. How do you construct this inner fortress? It starts with self-awareness. Understand your values, your principles, your non-negotiables. These are the foundations. Then you reinforce it with reason. Challenge your irrational thoughts, your emotional overreactions. Apply logic and Stoic principles to dissect your anxieties and fears. Practice the dichotomy of control relentlessly. This is like reinforcing the walls. Every time you choose a reasoned response over an emotional outburst, you add another stone to your citadel. Every time you focus on your own actions rather than external events, you strengthen its defenses. Meditation in the Stoic sense is also crucial. This isn't necessarily about emptying your mind, but about examining your thoughts and judgments. Marcus Aurelius's meditations are a prime example. He was essentially journaling, reinforcing his Stoic principles, shoring up his inner citadel against the immense pressures of ruling an empire. Spend time in quiet reflection. Review your day. Where did you act in accordance with your values? Where did you falter? What can you learn? This self-examination is critical maintenance for your fortress. Furthermore, consciously curate your inputs. The modern world tries to breach your citadel constantly with negativity, outrage, and distraction. Be ruthless about what you allow into your mind. Limit exposure to toxic news, social media arguments, and people who drain your energy. Your attention is a precious resource. Guard it fiercely. Fill your mind instead with wisdom, with Stoic writings, with things that reinforce your principles and strengthen your resolve. The mentally unstoppable man can retreat into his inner citadel at any moment. When chaos erupts around him, when criticism flies, when misfortune strikes, he has a place of unshakable calm and clarity to return to. He is not dependent on the external world for his peace because he has built it within himself. This inner resilience, this self-contained strength, is what makes him truly unstoppable. He carries his fortress with him wherever he goes. Start building yours today, one virtuous thought, one reasoned response at a time. A critical pillar for the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, is understanding and living by the Stoic principle that virtue is the sole good. This is a radical idea in a world obsessed with external achievements, wealth, pleasure, and status. The Stoics argued that these things, health, wealth, reputation, pleasure, even life itself, are indifferents. They are not inherently good or bad. They can be used well or poorly. The only true good is virtue, living with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. The only true evil is vice, the opposite of these. Why is this so crucial for becoming mentally unstoppable? Because if your happiness and sense of well-being are tied to externals, to indifference, then you are perpetually vulnerable. If you need wealth to be happy, you will be miserable when you lack it or fear losing it. If you need others' approval, you will be crushed by criticism. If you need constant pleasure, you will be tormented by its absence or by discomfort. You will be stoppable because these things are largely outside your complete control. But if virtue is your sole good, then your well-being becomes entirely within your control. No one can force you to act without wisdom. No one can make you unjust. No one can steal your courage or compel you to be intemperate. These are choices you make, actions you take. Your character, your virtuous responses to life's events become your ultimate prize. This makes you psychologically invincible. External misfortunes can still happen. You can lose your job, your health, your loved ones, but they cannot touch your core goodness, your ability to respond virtuously. And if virtue is the only good, then even in the face of the greatest tragedies, you can still achieve the good. You can still be courageous, just, wise, and temperate. This isn't to say you shouldn't strive for health or financial stability or good relationships. These are preferred indifference. It's good to have them if you can, and you should act prudently to attain and maintain them. But they are not the good. They are tools, materials. Your virtue is how you use them. You can be wealthy and vicious, or poor and virtuous. You can be healthy and foolish, or sick and wise. Living this principle means a radical reordering of your priorities. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" you ask, "How can I act?" In every situation, your primary concern becomes, what is the virtuous thing to do here? What does wisdom require? What does justice demand? What would courage look like? What does temperance counsel? This internal compass, always pointing towards virtue, provides unwavering direction and unshakable stability. The actionable path here is constant self-interrogation. Before making a decision, ask, is this choice aligned with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance? When facing a challenge, ask, how can I respond virtuously? When you achieve something, focus not on the external reward, but on the virtuous effort that led to it. When you suffer a setback, focus not on the loss of the indifferent, but on the opportunity to practice virtue in your response. This shift makes you unstoppable because your ultimate goal, living virtuously, can never be taken away from you. Storms may rage, fortunes may turn, but your capacity to be a good man, a virtuous man, remains entirely in your hands. This is the source of profound inner peace and unbreakable strength. Let's now confront the inner storms, your emotions. The Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, is not about suppressing emotions like some unfeeling automaton. That's a common and dangerous misconception. Stoicism is about emotional regulation, about understanding your emotions, analyzing their root causes, which are almost always our judgments, and then choosing rational, virtuous responses rather than being hijacked by knee-jerk reactions. The unstoppable man isn't emotionless. He's the master of his emotions, not their slave. Emotions, the Stoics taught, largely stem from our judgments about events, not the events themselves. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." This is a profoundly empowering insight. It means that if you can change your judgments, you can change your emotional response. If you're feeling overwhelming anger, it's not just the external trigger. It's your judgment that something unjust and intolerable has occurred, and that anger is the correct or only response. If you're crippled by anxiety, it's not just the uncertain future. It's your judgment that something terrible will happen and you won't be able to cope. To become mentally unstoppable, you must become a detective of your own emotional landscape. When a strong emotion arises, fear, anger, jealousy, despair, don't just react. Pause. Interrogate the emotion. Ask, what am I feeling precisely? What event or thought triggered this feeling? What judgment am I making about this event or thought? Is it true? Is it rational? Is it helpful? Is this judgment about something within my control or outside of it? What would be a more rational, virtuous judgment and response? For example, someone cuts you off in traffic. Immediate anger flares. Pause, judgment. That person disrespected me, they endangered me, they are an idiot. Result. Rage, increased heart rate, desire to retaliate. Stoic interrogation, the event is external. Their actions are theirs. My judgment is that this is a personal affront and a catastrophe. Is it? Or is it simply another driver being careless or rushed? Does my rage benefit me in any way? Or does it just ruin my peace and potentially lead to a dangerous escalation? A more rational judgment. That was an unskilled, impatient driver. I will maintain my safe distance and focus on my own driving and composure. The emotion of intense anger subsides, replaced by caution or perhaps mild annoyance, but not overwhelming rage. This isn't about telling yourself you shouldn't feel. It's about understanding why you feel what you feel, and then consciously choosing whether that judgment and the subsequent emotion serves your higher purpose of living virtuously and maintaining your inner peace. It's about inserting a gap between stimulus and response, and in that gap lies your freedom and your power. Practicing this requires daily vigilance. It means catching yourself before you're swept away. It might involve deep breathing to create that initial pause. It might involve journaling about your emotional triggers and responses. It might involve disputing your negative automatic thoughts with logical counterarguments. Over time, you retrain your brain. You weaken the power of unexamined judgments to dictate your emotional state. You become less reactive, more thoughtful, more composed. Your emotional energy, instead of being wasted on destructive outbursts or crippling anxieties, is conserved and channeled into purposeful action. This mastery over your inner world is absolutely fundamental to being mentally unstoppable. You can face any external storm if your internal weather is under your command. Now we must address a crucial element of the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, that is often overlooked in purely philosophical discussions. Action. Stoicism is not a passive philosophy of armchair contemplation. It is a philosophy for living, for doing, for engaging with the world purposefully and effectively. The Stoic is not a hermit retreating from life's challenges. He is a warrior, a citizen, a leader who acts with virtue in the arena of life. Being mentally unstoppable means translating your inner resilience into tangible, impactful action. Theory without practice is sterile. All the Stoic principles, the dichotomy of control, amor fati, virtue as the sole good, are meant to inform and guide your actions in the real world. Your inner citadel is not just a place to hide. It's the command center from which you direct your efforts. If you have clarity about what's in your control, if you embrace your fate, if your compass is set to virtue, then you must act accordingly. Inaction, when action is called for, is a vice. It's a symptom of fear, indecision, or apathy, all enemies of the unstoppable mindset. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, wrote his meditations not in a secluded monastery, but on military campaigns amidst the burdens of rule. He was a man of immense action, guided by Stoic principles. Seneca was a statesman, a playwright, and advisor. Epictetus, though a former slave who taught philosophy, emphasized applying these teachings to daily life. The call is clear. Don't just think like a Stoic, live like one. This means identifying your duties and fulfilling them with excellence. Your duty to your work, to your family, to your community, to yourself. It means facing challenges not with avoidance, but with courageous engagement. It means making decisions, even difficult ones, based on reason and principle, rather than being paralyzed by fear of failure or criticism. It means using your talents and resources to make a positive impact, however small, on the world around you. The fear of failure often cripples action, but the Stoic understands that the outcome is an indifferent. The effort, the intention, the virtuous attempt, these are within your control and are what truly matter. If you act with virtue and your plan fails, you have still succeeded in the most important sense. You learn from the experience, adjust your strategy if appropriate, and act again. This liberates you to take bold, principled action without being emotionally devastated by setbacks. To cultivate this bias for action, identify your sphere of influence. What can you actually do today, this week, to improve your situation, to live by your principles, to contribute? Break down large tasks into smaller, manageable steps. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Focus on that next right action. Practice discomfort docking, as Tim Ferriss calls it, borrowed from Stoic principles. Regularly do small things that are uncomfortable to build your tolerance for difficulty and your capacity for action despite fear. Focus on process, not just outcome. Did you do your best? Did you act with integrity? That is the victory. Remember that even small, consistent actions compound over time into significant results and a powerful character. The mentally unstoppable individual is not a passive observer of life. He is an active participant, a shaper of his own destiny to the extent that it lies within his control. He understands that his principles must be expressed through his deeds. Your strength is not just in what you can endure, but in what you can do. So, ask yourself, where in your life are you hesitating? Where are you shirking your responsibilities or avoiding necessary action? The Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, demands that you step forward, embrace your duties, and act with courage and conviction. Your actions are the ultimate expression of your inner state. Finally, to truly solidify the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, we must cultivate perspective. Two powerful Stoic exercises help immensely here. Memento mori, remember you will die, and the view from above, Plato's view. These practices might seem morbid or abstract, but they are potent tools for cutting through trivialities, focusing on what truly matters, and building an unshakable resolve. Memento mori, remember you will die. This isn't about fostering a gloomy obsession with death. It's about using the awareness of your mortality as a clarifying agent. When you remember that your time is finite, limited, and uncertain, petty annoyances, anxieties about trivial things, and the fear of taking necessary risks often shrink in significance. Why waste precious, unrecoverable moments on anger over minor slights, on procrastination born of fear, or on chasing fleeting pleasures at the expense of meaningful pursuits? Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford commencement address, said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important." This is pure Stoic wisdom. Memento mori urges you to live with urgency, purpose, and virtue now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. It strips away the non-essential and focuses your energy on what truly counts. The man who lives conscious of his mortality is less likely to be stopped by trivial fears or distracted by insignificant pursuits. He values his time, his actions, and his character above all else. How to practice memento mori. Keep a reminder, a skull coin, a note, a daily reflection that your life is finite. When faced with a decision, ask, if this were my last day or my last week, would this matter? Would I do this? Would I avoid this? This isn't to paralyze you, but to empower you to live more fully, more authentically, more courageously. The second perspective-shifting tool is the view from above. Marcus Aurelius frequently employed this. Imagine yourself looking down upon the earth from a great height, seeing all the cities, all the people scurrying about, their concerns, their conflicts. Then zoom out further, see the earth as a small speck in the vastness of the cosmos, across the immense sweep of time. From this vantage point, your personal problems, your anxieties, even your greatest triumphs and most painful losses appear in a different light. They don't necessarily disappear, but their scale is relativized. This exercise helps to detach from the immediacy and overwhelming nature of your personal concerns. It puts things in perspective. That argument you had, that deadline you're stressing over, that social embarrassment, how significant are they really in the grand scheme of things? This isn't to say your problems don't matter to you, but it helps to reduce their emotional charge, allowing for a calmer, more rational response. It cultivates a sense of humility and interconnectedness, reducing ego-driven anxieties. The mentally unstoppable man can access this broader perspective to prevent himself from being consumed by the minutiae of daily struggles. He sees the bigger picture and understands his place within it. To practice the view from above, during meditation or quiet reflection, visualize yourself ascending, looking down upon your life, your community, your world, then the universe. Contemplate the vastness of space and time. Consider the countless generations that have come before and will come after. Let this perspective inform your current challenges. Are they truly as monumental as they feel in the heat of the moment? By integrating memento mori and the view from above into your mental toolkit, you gain a profound sense of perspective that makes you less susceptible to being derailed by everyday stressors or existential anxieties. You focus on what is truly essential, your character, your actions, your contribution in the brief time you have. This expansive viewpoint is a hallmark of the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable. It anchors you in profound truths that transcend the chaos of the moment. We've journeyed through the core of the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable. We've unearthed the iron law of the dichotomy of control, commanding you to focus your energy solely on what is yours to govern. We've embraced amor fati, the love of your fate, transforming every obstacle into fuel. We've practiced premeditatio malorum, arming ourselves against future shocks through wise preparation. We've laid the foundations for your inner citadel, that unbreachable fortress of self-mastery and peace. We've recentered on virtue as the sole good, making your character the ultimate, untouchable prize. We've delved into emotional regulation, becoming masters of our inner storms, not their slaves. We've recognized the imperative of action, understanding that Stoicism is a warrior's code for living, not just thinking. And we've cultivated cosmic perspective through memento mori and the view from above, anchoring us in what truly matters. This is not a checklist to be casually ticked off. This is a lifelong commitment, a continuous practice. Becoming mentally unstoppable is not a destination you arrive at, but a way you choose to travel every single day. There will be moments you falter. There will be times old habits of weakness and reactivity try to reclaim their territory. That is part of the path. The Stoic doesn't expect perfection, but persistent effort. When you stumble, you get up, consult your principles, and realign your actions. The brutal truth is that most people will hear this, nod, and then do nothing. They will remain slaves to their emotions, puppets of circumstance, forever fragile and easily broken. They will choose the comfort of complaining over the discipline of construction. But you are not most people, or you wouldn't have stayed this long. You are seeking something more. You are seeking the steel in your spine, the fire in your soul, the quiet invincibility of a mind truly free. The power to forge the Stoic mindset, becoming mentally unstoppable, lies entirely within you right now. It begins with the next choice you make, the next thought you challenge, the next action you take based on principle rather than fleeting emotion or external pressure. Destroy your weakness by starving it of your attention and energy. Build your strength by consistently applying these timeless truths. Your commitment must be absolute, your practice relentless. The world will continue to test you. It will throw its chaos, its injustices, its temptations at your feet. But armed with the Stoic mindset, you will not just withstand it, you will thrive. You will meet adversity with calm resilience, success with humble gratitude, and every moment with purposeful virtue. You will become a force of stability and strength, not just for yourself, but for those around you. This is your call to action. Don't just absorb these words, internalize them. Live them, begin today. Pick one principle and focus on it with unwavering intensity. Then add another. Build your practice brick by brick. The journey to becoming mentally unstoppable is arduous, but the reward is a life of profound meaning, unshakable peace, and true inner freedom. The reward is becoming the man you were always meant to be. Go forth and forge your unstoppable mind. The power is yours. Claim it.